I am so excited to share my latest resource, downloadable print your own flashcard decks. These have been created following my many years working with children of all abilities in the clinical setting, and my themed flashcard decks work. The kids love them because they're engaging and they encourage movement, learning, coping skills, and just plain fun. From dinosaurs to Halloween, each deck includes suggested and themed centering techniques, warm-ups, guided meditation, relaxation, yoga-based movement, and games. Each card in the deck includes multiple yoga-based practices to choose from, meaning you can enjoy a different experience each time you play, and there will always be something that's suitable and accessible for the child you are working with or the setting you are working in. These are highly adaptable tools, and they work in the classroom, hospital, office, or home setting. Download and print on card or paper stock of your choice and enjoy creative, adaptable, and accessible adventures for many years to come with children of all abilities and in all settings. I promise you will not regret adding a set of 2 of these to your resource collection. And keep checking in. I have created a lot of these decks over the many years I worked in the clinical setting with children of all abilities, and I'm slowly updating and releasing them to the public so that all children can benefit from these wonderful tools.
Hi, I'm Lisa Roberts from Yo-Yo Yoga School, introducing session 29 of Movement, Meditation and Mindfulness, a training program for pediatric professionals, educators, and parents. Session 29 will be exploring movement, meditation, and mindfulness protocols that target wellness support for stress and anxiety. So a little bit of a legal and medical disclaimer that I would like to clear up before we move forward. The practices recommended in this webinar series are based on my research and personal experience as a yoga professional. It is strictly support that is recommended for symptomatic relief, and a medical doctor or medical professional must be consulted to diagnose and treat medical problems. Furthermore, I recommend seeking medical advice and clearance from a doctor or medical professional, prior to practicing any of the recommended wellness, breathing, meditation, exercises, activities, or movements that are recommended in this webinar series. So, legal disclaimer aside, a very important part of my process and part of this program is safety first, of course. And the golden rule I have when, especially working in a clinical setting, but also taking a wellness approach with movement, meditation, mindfulness, is why before what. Always establishing why a child is experiencing symptoms before planning a session. So, for example, stress and anxiety is today's topic. So finding the source of the stress and anxiety, as well as supporting the child with symptomatic relief. Getting doctor and healthcare provider approval is important. If you're working with someone, as I do, I'm often meeting children for the first time and working with them with a therapeutic approach to movement, meditation, and mindfulness. So in that case, I recommend asking detailed questions about any conditions, illnesses, medications, side effects they may be experiencing, any mobility restrictions or medically recommended restrictions as well. So just really having a clear picture of what's safe for the child in their session. Asking a parent or a therapist that is familiar with the child to remain present, especially for the first few sessions. And that's if you're working with someone and having an ongoing session and it's your first time and you're wanting to lead some movement, meditation, and mindfulness, is absolutely having someone who's completely familiar with the child and their body and how their body moves, just to help keep you understand and keep the child safe. Cueing the breath is always important, no matter especially if you're leading movement. It's not just about cueing the breath for the breathing techniques, but it also is all encompassing, as we've explored in previous webinars. The breath can help the body and mind to be relaxed. It can bring you into a state of meditation and focus, and again, relaxation, because we're letting all the thoughts go when we're meditating and just being mindful and present in the moment. And the cueing the breath can help one to stretch well and to stretch safely. Wellness support is not a treatment or a cure. It is purely support for symptomatic relief. Now, I want to be careful how I say this, but it may become a cure. If someone, for example, if someone's experiencing stress and anxiety and the wellness protocols that you learn in this webinar are applied, and that helps resolve their stress and anxiety or how they respond to it, then in a way it is a cure. But again, finding out what the source is what's important, first of all. And then what we'll be learning today are tools to navigate feelings of stress and anxiety, tools to recognize how it feels in our body and how we respond to stress and anxiety, and then tools to help manage and navigate those feelings when they arise. So it really isn't a cure, but it can be very, very highly beneficial. Treating the whole child, not just specifically what they're seeking medical or therapeutic movement, meditation, and mindfulness intervention. So aside from the reason that they're seeking the intervention, but seeing the whole child, what they like, what they don't like, their playfulness, and just really encompassing the whole child and planning sessions that benefit the child fully, not as well as supporting and targeting the reason they're coming to you for an intervention, or the reason you're considering using movement, meditation, and mindfulness as an intervention. And then, of course, if in doubt, don't practice. So this definitely applies to movement. If you're not sure if a movement is safe for a child, for their particular body and the way their body moves, then simply don't do it. If you can't safely find an adaptation, or you're just not sure, then I would recommend focusing on the mindfulness component until you can work with somebody who is familiar with the child's body and co-treat or refer to another professional for movement if it's just something you don't feel comfortable doing in a safe and beneficial way. So, and that slide applies to all of my wellness. So, but today we'll move into stress and anxiety and the health risks of stress and anxiety. So when we're feeling stressed, when we're feeling anxious, the fight or flight mode is activated. And the body can be, the whole time you're experiencing stress and anxiety, in a perpetual and sustained fight or flight response. And that's where we're bracing up, preparing for a fight or to flee. And the body is bracing, fearing danger or some kind of alarm. And you can see my posture. When we think of that, we're creating a lot of physical tension in the body. When the body is in fight or flight mode, the non-vital functions such as digestive system function are suppressed, and other functions such as heart rate and blood pressure and breathing are increased. So the body is alarmed and in high alert. So this can result in sleep issues. It can affect immune function. When we are in fight or flight, the adrenal glands release stress hormones, and these can negatively impact immune function. When we're feeling stressed and anxious, there can be social withdrawal, which can dramatically affect the child's development. Their cognitive and emotional and social development are very, very important stages and holistic parts of a child's development. So this can negatively impact their social development. It can negatively impact learning as well. Of course, if we're in a constant state of stress and anxiety and we're experiencing the physical tension, the social withdrawal, the inability to learn, all of this can play into developing mental health problems such as depression. And these can also evolve into eating disorders, drug and alcohol abuse. So stress and anxiety is something we really want to teach kids to recognize and manage and communicate openly about from a very young age. Now, what are sources of stress and anxiety for children? Children should just be playing and having fun. They shouldn't be stressed, right? It is not exclusively an adult issue, stress and anxiety. And children certainly feel stress and anxiety. And teaching them to really understand what it is and how it feels, or teaching children, because they may not understand what it is, or may not be able to verbalize is probably the more what I'm looking for here. So teaching children to communicate with you so you can work together to uncover certain feelings that they don't understand and identify when it is stress and anxiety, and help to educate children and develop that awareness of how their body works and how their responses work, and then giving them the tools to manage this, and also educating them on the importance of communication is all vital. So some of the sources can be separation anxiety. It can be as simple as, spending a lot of time home with the family and then having to go off to school. It could be school itself and the pressures of school, and performance anxiety in school, or, feeling pressure from the teachers, or not understanding a subject, but being too afraid to speak up and ask for help, or anything like that. It could just be just the general load of school, maybe too much, or perhaps the learning environment isn't suitable to the child's learning needs and they're falling behind, or they're struggling in the classroom setting. Peer pressure and bullying is a big one. So again, being able to have the child to feel safe to communicate these issues and any problems they're having can help resolve those quickly before stress and anxiety really escalates. Identity, like some children have a lot of self-pressure. They think they should be able to do something, or they're not understanding their own scope of their abilities, or putting some more pressure on themselves in terms of how they measure up in school or in sport or to their friends. This can create a lot of stress and anxiety in children as well. Sports and extracurricular activities, some kids are just overscheduled, and that can create stress and anxiety too, in addition just to the performance related stress and anxiety in each of these activities that they may be enrolled in or participating in. Death, divorce, illness of a family member or a friend, or even sometimes they may not have experienced this, but they may see it in a movie, and that can trigger internalization of fears of, that mom died in that movie, can this happen to me? So again, encouraging children when stuff like that comes up to not internalize it, but to talk about it can be very, very helpful. And you'll see today, through movement, meditation, and mindfulness, we can help kids experience that self-awareness and also understand that it's okay to communicate. News cycles. Kids are exposed to the news, and it travels so fast now, and they're hearing about the politics, and they're hearing about wars, and they're hearing about shootings, and that can be very, very stressful for a child, especially younger children who may not necessarily have the cognitive and emotional development to truly process and understand what all this news means. So just being aware of that and what children are exposed to, and being able to step in and help them understand in a way that's developmentally appropriate is a very important thing to keep in mind. And then, of course, parent-family concerns. Has a child overheard you speaking about finances or interpersonal relationships or health issues? And children definitely pick up on these conversations, or also just the energy in the room. If there is something going on, sometimes they can pick up the anxiety of the parent as well. So these are just some of the things that can contribute to stress and anxiety in children. So they're sources to definitely keep in mind. So how do I know if my child or a child I work with or I see professionally is demonstrating symptoms of stress and anxiety? Well, they could be withdrawing, and that's withdrawing from friends, withdrawing from school, spending a lot of time in the room, not really being communicative, really closed off and giving closed answers, not open-ended answers. So that's definitely can be a sign of stress and anxiety. Clingy behavior on the other end of the spectrum, a kid that's extra clingy. And again, these will be behavior changes. These are things that aren't normal for the child. Moodiness, acting out, behavior regression, bedwetting, chronic illness, colds, flus, tummy issues are a big one. As I mentioned earlier, when we're in fight or flight, the digestive system is suppressed. So if we're having some tummy issues, it can be due to stress and anxiety. Sleep issues, nightmares, lack of appetite, poor grades in school, or a change in school performance. And then the big one, no signs at all. So a child may not demonstrate any signs of stress and anxiety, but it doesn't mean that they're not experiencing it on some level. So that's why today's webinar and the movement meditation and mindfulness practices and the conversations and the communication I'm recommending are truly valuable for all children, regardless of whether or not they are demonstrating or showing signs of stress and anxiety. So stress and me for kids, how do we help children to develop self-awareness and a set of self-regulation skills? Communication is key. Teaching kids that it's okay to seek help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to question things. It's okay if they feel something in their body that they don't quite understand. Just to talk to a parent, a teacher, a friend is okay to try, and we'll work together, letting them know they have the support system, but also letting them know that through a lot of this work, you're going to be helping them stock their toolbox with tools. And if those tools don't work, then to ask for more or to ask for help is okay. Stress test. So that's my favorite. It's a great tool. We're going to do it in just a moment. That's a great way for kids to experience stress firsthand. It really demonstrates how they typically respond to stress. So we've done this in a past webinar. We're going to do it again. I'm going to ask you to make a fist as tight as you can, as tight for 10 seconds. We're going to squeeze it as tight as you can. I'm going to bring my hand up to the camera. You can see it's turning purple. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tight, and let it go. Okay. So what did you notice? That was a stress. And as we squeeze it tight, you very possibly went into fight or flight and had a fight or flight response. Now, maybe, I'm just going to put my clicker down, maybe you scrunched up the other hand. I just asked you to scrunch one, but maybe you scrunched the other. Maybe you pulled your belly in or scrunched your toes or drew your shoulders up to your ears. Or maybe, just maybe, you did what I did. I held my breath. And I noticed as soon as I let my hand go, as I was stepping back from the camera, I let my breath out. And these are all very natural human responses to stress, but we don't have to respond that way. Just by doing this with a child, you can help them recognize where they hold stress. And we just did that quick little body scan. I kind of pointed out the main areas where stress can be held in the body, including holding of the breath. So just that little awareness, we know what our habitual reflexive responses are. And that's how you can demonstrate it to a child. So, okay, so I tend to scrunch my shoulders up and hold my breath. So now I know to be aware when I'm experiencing stress. Oh, where are my shoulders? Oh, am I breathing? And then we'll do it again. So let's be aware of the body, wherever you found that you hold on to, Relax that, focus on relaxing it, and focus on breathing. We're going to do it again together. So squeeze the fist as tight as you can. And now take an easy breath in and a relaxing breath out. Relax the body. Easy inhale. Relaxing exhale. Still squeezing the fist as tight as you can. You can see mine's super, super tight still. Easy inhale. A relaxing exhale, and now release the hand. And just notice how you feel compared to the first time we did this. So you can see just how easy, rather than giving a long, lengthy explanation of the autonomic nervous system, the fight or flight and stress, and how it can be present in your body, showing instead of telling, and just demonstrating. And this technique, the child at any age and adult can really begin to recognize what their habits are and develop that self-awareness. How do I respond to stress? What is my trigger or knee-jerk reaction to stress? Movement. Just through regular movement, daily movement, we start to recognize any areas in our body that may hold tension, where we tend to be a little bit tight. So we can then be aware of the body and have more control over it. Breathing skills, again, just knowing that when we feel this, that all I need to do is breathe and be aware of which parts of my body need to relax a little extra. I can respond in a more positive way to stress. And guided relaxation, meditation, progressive relaxation skills, teaching children how to access these and have them in their toolbox are all tools that we can use as teachers, as parents, as therapists to help children navigate life and deal with stress and anxiety in their lives in a positive way. So healthy habits, and this is important too. Before I go on to building the toolbox and my targeted practices to target stress and anxiety, I want to talk a little bit about more about creating healthy habits for kids and tips that you can use and teach children to use and access daily in their lives. So we're not waiting for a crisis. We're not waiting for stress and anxiety levels to escalate. We're giving children the tools to weave little habits into their day to keep stress and anxiety at bay and to help children to thrive. So one is checking in, tuning into the body and the mind throughout each day. So teaching children to do a little body scan, to teach children to check in with their breath, check in with their thoughts. My mantra, my personal mantra is, where is my body? Where is my breath? Where is my mind? And the minute I do that, suddenly I'm like, oh yeah, am I standing? Am I slouching? Am I breathing well? Is my mind scattered and all over the place? But it brings me straight into alignment, not only mentally, but physically as well. Another question to pose, not only is where is it, but how is my body? How is my breath? How is my mind? What state is it in? How do I feel? Do I feel energy? Do I feel relaxed? Do I feel lethargic? And what can I do from my toolbox that my super cool parent or therapist or friend or aunt or whoever you are in this child's life has given me? What tools can I use? Mini breaks. So from that toolbox, taking mini breaks throughout the day. So these are targeted stress and anxiety tools, but they're ones that can help keep me centered throughout the day and ready to combat stress and anxiety if it dares try to step into my realm. Brain breaks, teaching children to take vitally important breaks from schoolwork, from computer use, from scheduled activities. Encouraging children to find playtime, free time, just to play and have fun and be silly and be a kid, no matter how old, even older kids too, including adults. Creative outlets, encouraging children to find some creative outlets, whether that's and create ways to creatively express themselves, whether that's dance, music, art, writing songs, anything at all that's a little bit of a creative outlet can really help to combat stress and anxiety at a daily level. Communication, I can't stress this enough, and I know I keep going on about it, and I'm like a broken record, but it's so important to encourage communication and teach children that it is so okay to seek help and ask for help, to maybe sometimes not understand or not know why they're stressed or whatever it is they're feeling, or not even being able to verbalize what a feeling is. It's okay. But that's when you seek help and find someone who can work through this with you. And that may not be you. It's absolutely so important to be aware that sometimes you need to co-treat with another professional or refer to another professional, and that's okay too. Knowing the scope of your boundaries and the scope of your abilities is important, and that's truly what's going to benefit a child as well, if you're as brutally honest and know when you've done all you can to help and support, and recommending somebody else to also step into the care role and help the child is so important as well. And then rest and restore, permission for self-care and self-care practices and breaks. So teaching children the value of taking breaks and self-care, and also teaching children to value that. We live in such a society of busyness. Children see that, and busyness does not necessarily equate to being healthy. And these breaks are so important. I'm guilty myself of always being perpetually busy and juggling a million balls at once. And it's just so important to lead by example. And also, again, this comes back to communication and communicating to children that breaks are just as important as being productive. So that's how we can teach children to thrive every day and weave these healthy habits into their daily life. And that in itself could be enough to keep stress and anxiety at bay, or at least help children manage feelings of stress and anxiety before they escalate. So how do we build toolboxes? We teach self-awareness as a very vital component in the toolbox. Being a stress test and body scan can really help children be aware of what responses they have typically, and through practicing these techniques, they will immediately become aware when they are responding in this way. That would be like a personal alarm system. It's like, oh, my shoulders are up here. What does that mean? What's going on? Ooh, first of all, let me take care of the symptom of stress, but let me take some time to reflect what is causing the stress. Do I need to talk to someone? Do I need to seek help? Do I need to change something? Practice breathing skills, practice meditation skills. These are vitally important to the more children practice these, not just have them sitting in their toolbox, but practice them daily, the more they're going to train their body and mind to access those tools when something goes askew or awry. And, oh, hang on, I need this tool today because I've got a lot of pent up stress, or I need to soothe and calm myself. Let's go get that tool. But if we practice with it every day, these mindfulness tools that you put in the toolbox, if you practice them every day, the body and mind remember how it felt when you do those. So it almost becomes second nature to start accessing those breathing techniques when they're needed the most. If they're practiced every day, it's kind of like training. Challenging poses. I recommend some of my kids, I've had children tell me I get really, nervous before a test and I can't focus. Do a challenging balance pose, because that requires focus. When we're balancing on one leg and we're doing any of these challenging yoga-based stretches or poses, it requires full attention. So we're immediately distracting the mind from those crazy thoughts about being stressed about the test or exam, and bringing it to a single pointed focus, which is meditation. And that can clear the mind. Something as simple as that can prepare the body for an exam. So it doesn't always have to be a breathing or mindfulness technique. For kids who like to move, or kids who just don't know what to do with their body, or the stress is really felt there, to do something like this, I just want to do both sides of one balance, can really just bring the attention in to the body, align the body, take all the fidgetiness out of the body and out of the mind as well. So these are helpful tools to have in the toolbox as well. It's not just mindfulness, breathing and meditation, but whole body movements that can help as well. Reflection is important as well. teaching children, hey, every time you practice, I'm encouraging you to practice one of these techniques, throughout the day, one in the morning, one in the middle of the day, one in the afternoon. No matter how you feel, especially when you're feeling good, start practicing these. And then notice how you feel. Again, that's part of that training where soon, if you practice and reflect and practice and reflect, when that moment comes that you need these tools, it will be second nature to go to them. It won't require direction from a parent or a lot of thinking. Okay, so some targeted mindfulness tips for the toolbox. So here's just a few. There are many out there. My two books, Teach Your Child Yoga and Teach Your Child Meditation, have plenty of techniques, and they are broken up into sections, and there is a section for stress and anxiety for targeted breathing techniques and movement as well. So I just picked a few today to go through as an example. So we're going to start with younger children, and we're going to look at tension busters. So techniques that can help get any pent-up tension out quickly and release physical tension, internal tension as well. And then we're going to go into a couple of techniques that calm and soothe. And then we're going to do the same for teens. So you'll see how the same kind of concept or the same kind of idea can just be presented in a different way to be engaging and fun for children. So we will begin with firework breath. So I'm just going to come down onto my knees actually, just so you can see my upper body. So we're going to take a breath in. Breathe out. We've got our fireworks here ready to explode. We're going to take a breath in, load up the fireworks, and then as you breathe out, they're going to explode. So you can see how that can really let the tension out. I do recommend following along and doing these with me. If you needed more of a full body release, starting down in a crouch, I'm going to breathe in. So I've already got the balance challenge happening as well. Breathe out, set up our fireworks, take a breath in. And then as we breathe out, the fireworks are going to explode. So you can see how we're really getting that tension out. Another great tension buster, very common to carry tension in the jaw, the hands, and then also just to be able to let out a scream can be really refreshing when there's a lot of pent-up tension. So we're going to do a breathing technique called lion's breath. So we breathe in through the nose. Then as we breathe out, we open them, drop the jaw, let the breath out with a roar, and make some claws. So we'll do it all together. Easy breath in, and then let it out. So we're stretching the hands, getting any tension out of the hands, and opening the jaw, as well as really pushing that air out with a strong exhalation. And you can make a sound. I'm just not going to do that today because my dog is just outside this door and she will start barking. So I don't want to do it loud, but you can do it loud. You can let the kids just roar with that whole exhale out with as much noise as is needed to release that tension. As we've discussed in previous webinars, if the arousal level gets too high and that gets kids too excitable, you can always be aligned with a sore throat and do a whisper like I've just done. Okay, so calming and soothing. Bear breath is a very calming and soothing breathing technique. And it's where we imagine that we are a bear going into hibernation. So we make everything we take into hibernation with us last for the whole winter. And so you've got to be very careful. You can't just eat all the food you bring in at once or drink all the water or whatever drinking. I don't know how bears drink in the winter. I guess they suck on ice. I don't know. But anything that the bear takes into hibernation, he does need to make it last the whole winter. So we're going to think about our breath in that way. And we're going to make all of our inhales and exhales really count. We're going to start, we'll do a count of 3 to start. Mind that's a fairly low number, but we want to be mindful of small lungs or people who are just starting out learning to breathe. And count of 3 can be enough. Let's take a breath in, breathe out, and then take an inhale, 2, 3, Exhale, 2, 3. Breathe in, 2, 3. And out, 2, 3. Okay, let's notice how we feel. And you can stay counting to 3. Or if you think you can breathe a little bit more, we'll try 4. If 4 is too uncomfortable, when you try it, go back to 3. Breathe in and breathe out. Easy breath in, 2, 3, 4. And out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. And out, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. And out, 2, 3, 4. And you could take it even higher, up to a count of 5, if you like. And if at any point it becomes strained or choppy, that's creating stress. We don't want that. So you always want to come back to that point where you can breathe easy and comfortably and slowly and completely in control. So, calming and soothing breath for children, firefly belly. Let's bring our hands to our belly, relax the shoulders, relax the elbows. So again, that body awareness. We don't want to be creating tension and stress when we're doing a breathing technique. We want to be encouraging relaxation. So hands on the belly, breathing in until you feel the belly swell beneath your hands. And as you breathe out, feel the belly soften. Easy inhale, the belly expands into the hands. Breathing out, feel the belly soften. Now we're going to imagine beautiful firefly lighting up and then fading, just like fireflies do. They pulse from their brightest to their mildest expression. So we're going to imagine that happening in the belly. So every breath in, as the belly expands, imagine a beautiful bright light. And then as you breathe out, feel the belly soften and imagine that light softly fading. Easy inhales, the belly expands, beautiful bright light. Relaxing exhale, light fades as the belly softens. And that's a nice visual, creative visualization or guided imagery just to help encourage those deep, full breaths and that full relaxation on the exhale as well. It's very soothing and calming, imagining that pulsing light and connecting it with the breath. So for teens and tweens, we'll do something very similar to lion's breath. We're going to do letting go breath. So that's just where we take that breath in and open the mouth and let go of everything with the sigh out. So I often encourage my teens just to imagine they're like a tire deflating with that sound. So another one, breathing in through the nose and letting it out with a sigh. Now, a great tension buster for teens and tweens can be movement, linked to the breath, of course, but any fluid movement. So I'm going to breathe in, breathe out, take a twist, inhale, exhale. So any kind of movement, or just dancing or free movement as well, can be supportive to get some tension out. Just move, dance, sing. These are fun tension busters for kids, especially older kids. And put your headphones on, dance, sing a song. That's a great way just to release any pent up tension. And you can do it obviously through some of the sun flows, the warm up flows that we learn in the movement component of this series. Calming and soothing for teens. Just as we did bear breath, we just don't talk about the bear, we just do counting breath, noticing. And I'll demonstrate it with the Hoberman sphere today, but let's even out our breath. So we want to breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Easy breath in, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4. Or a mantra for teens and tweens, finding a word or a sentence or a phrase that they can attach to each inhale and exhale. And it can be as simple as easy breath in, relaxing breath out. Easy inhale, relaxing exhale. And a mantra can be a very personal thing. So it's working with a teen or tween or a child to find what works for them. And it can be anything at all. It can be the word happy. It can be the word sunshine. It can be something as simple as I am breathing in, I'm breathing out. Anything that provides an anchor and connects the mind to the breath and distracts from any other thought, particularly stressful or anxious thoughts. So that's just a few examples, and the key is just to find both aspects. You want to provide tools to release tension and get any of that pent up tension or energy out, and you want to provide tools to soothe and calm. And again, just finding what works for the child. Everybody is different, everybody is an individual, and what a child or person responds to can be very different from the next person. It may be the same technique, but just presented in a different way is what helps that child connect to and have the aha moment with that particular technique. So targeted movement skills, we want to provide kids with some targeted moving skills that target the areas where they typically hold tension. So helping them learn where they hold tension and then providing the movement techniques to release those areas. So it could be the face or the jaw, it may be the neck or the shoulders. Hands and feet are common areas. The back, low back, upper back, cervical spine, and of course the belly can carry tension as well. So teaching children a series of stretches that help target the areas that affect them when they're feeling stressed. Support calming movement as well. So we want to do supportive and calming movements just to help when we're feeling stress and anxiety, teaching children a few restorative go-to stretches where they can relax. So I'm going to demonstrate a complete flow today, and hopefully you'll follow along and do it with me. And it's going to include stretches for the neck, shoulders, hands, feet, back, belly, face, and jaw. So the calming, supportive, restorative postures, I recommend restorative supported child's pose, which is, I'll demonstrate that now. We're using a bolster. I will, for the next few, excuse me, I'm going to change my camera setting just very quickly so that you can have a better view. There we go. And I need to change this. So, supported child's pose. I'm taking my knees wide and my toes are touching underneath my butt. So my butt's just sitting down on my heels. I'm sliding a bolster. You can use a pillow, stacked blankets, and you might use several pillows or bolsters or stacked blankets or cushions, anything that the torso can rest on and provide support. So my knees are wide and I'm just lengthening my body over the bolster, and I'm just turning my cheek and resting my cheek on the bolster. There is the option to stack the hands and then rest the forehead on the hands, and that way there's space for the nose if you don't want to turn the head or the cervical spine. So that's the lovely restorative pose. Forward bends turn the attention inwards, and whenever we're forward folding in yoga-based movement, we're stretching the backside of the body. We're gently compressing the belly, which can be helpful if we're experiencing digestive issues. So that can be supportive for the digestive issues that may be experienced due to stress and anxiety. And then we are tuning our attention out from the outside world and encouraging inner reflection, calming and quieting the mind. Child's pose specifically is very grounding. We're close to the earth, so it's very grounding. It's very soothing. Another forward bend, restorative forward bend I recommended is supported seated forward fold. So same thing, the belly is getting gently compressed. It's not a deep compression because I've got the bolster here, and we can just rest in this forward fold pose, getting a nice release up the back of the legs as well. So you're getting the benefits of a seated forward fold, and it's fully restorative and supportive, and it just gives me time to quiet and calm the mind, perhaps do some breathing. There was another one mentioned there, and I don't have a table today, but if you had a table or a desk right here, you would sit in easy pose. That's just one ankle in front of the other and rest the head on the desk. So this is good for in a classroom where you can move the chair back and rest the head on the desk and get the same benefits of that forward fold or the child's pose, but seated at a desk. And then, of course, for relaxation, just to encourage kids to relax, getting set up for the big relax. So I've got a bolster under my knees. just some additional props that I'm showing. Do not have to use them all, but I have a rice bag. This is a bag of rice. It weighs about 4 pounds. And so that may be heavy for some. So again, using something like rice rather than a weight bag, you can adjust the weight by dropping some of the rice out or adding it. So that's why I use rice. And I'm just placing that on the belly. And that's just sending the extra message to my brain via my nervous system. Hey, it's time to calm down and relax. And you could also use an eye pillow. So I've got a little eye pillow here. It's also slightly weighted. When you're using eye pillows, if it's not with your own child, I recommend a Kleenex. This is what I use with students when I'm doing public sessions if they don't have their own eye pillow. And that way you're protecting each person by placing a fresh, clean Kleenex over the eyes and then placing the eye pillow. That way, by keeping it germ-free and safe. And I feel lovely and supported. I could hang out here all day and do some guided relaxation or just do my own breath or just take a nice, well-deserved rest. And these simple, grounding, supportive postures can really help anybody manage stress or anxiety. So our full-length session, let me just flip back. I apologize. I just want to go through a sequence with you before I lead one. So movement, meditation, and mindfulness for stress and anxiety management and relief. You want to include a mindful breathing technique to center and calm the body and mind and connect with the breath before movement. When you're introducing movement, you want to do some fluid flow warm-ups to really iron out the kinks and loosen up the body. We all have little kinks and little habits that we may not be aware of, and that's a lovely way before you go into the postures to just get some movement in the spine, in the body, in the core, warm up so you're safe, but also ironing out the kinks. Forward folds, we just discussed the benefits. For a lot of forward bends, you get the benefits of the forward fold, but you also get the benefits of inversions. And inversions decompress the spine, so that can take any pressure off the spine and help lengthen the spine. A lot of the more challenging inversions also require single point of focus, so that can distract from what's those stressful and anxious-ridden thoughts that can distract the mind from those and bring it into a single point of focus on meditation. And inversions also provide a different perspective, which can be very helpful and can translate off the mat too, to start seeing things and thinking things in a different way instead of one way, which may not be helpful when dealing with stress and anxiety. You want to include balanced postures. Again, single point of focus, balanced postures are meditation. Challenging postures. So some of the challenging stretches that we do in movement, if a child is challenged and we learn to breathe and stay calm while being challenged, that can also translate off the mat and outside of the session into life. How do I remain calm even when there's chaos? Back bends are energizing and uplifting, and they stretch the belly gently too. So back bends are great to include because sometimes when we're stressed and anxious, we're calming and grounding, but also maybe from the stress and anxiety, we're starting to experience some and display some signs of depression. So something that's a little energizing, uplifting. It can still be restorative, so it can be incremental and gentle, but just starting to awaken the body and revive it as well. Child's pose, restorative and grounding, so they're great. It's great to include that. And twist, support, digestive health. So again, another symptom of stress and anxiety is digestive upset. So we want to include stuff that can be supportive of that. And then of course, meditation, relaxation to provide an anchor to redirect the mind to a quiet, calm space. So I'm going to lead you through a abridged flow. And this is something you can practice on your own. You can practice, we're just going to do 1 or 2 rounds of each stretch, but definitely if you were leading it or doing it yourself, you could stay a little bit longer in each particular stretch. So we'll get started. We're going to start with a technique called, we did soothing breath. Oh no, we didn't do soothing. Let's do soothing breath. So 1 hand on the heart, 1 hand on the belly, shoulders and elbows relaxed, eyes closed. I'm going to flip to the bigger screen. And eyes closed, I'm going to take an easy breath in and a relaxing breath out. Just being aware of the gentle rise and fall of the chest and belly with each inhale and each exhale. And this is something I would definitely practice for up to 3 minutes, maybe even longer if you have the time. And then from here, we'll focus on the fingers. We're going to inhale, stretch the fingers as wide as we can. Exhale, tap the index finger to the thumb. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, middle finger to thumb. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, ring finger to thumb. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, pinky finger to thumb. And now we're going to go backwards. Breathe in, stretch. Exhale, pinky finger. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, ring finger. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, middle finger. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, index finger. And then mix and fists, and we'll roll our wrists into circles. Good. And shake them out. And release the hands to the legs. Take a breath in, squeeze the shoulders up to the ears. And exhale, roll and slide them down the back. Inhale, squeeze up. Exhale, roll and slide. Reach the arms out, relax the shoulders, palms are down, hands are shoulder height, and we're going to flip the right palm, bring the left hand on top and gently press it back on the exhale. So every inhale, sit up a little taller. Imagine lengthening this right hand away from the shoulder. So the wrist comes forward and you gently pull the hand back on the exhale. And shake it out. We'll do the other one. So palms down, flip the left hand, bring the right hand on top and gently press back. So as you're gently pressing back, you're going to imagine lengthening the arm out of the socket and forward and gently pull back on the exhale. Good. And then shake your hand. Hands rest on the thighs, breathing in through the nose, breathe out chin to chest. Inhale, lift chin away from chest. Exhale, lower down. And one more, breathe in. And breathe out, chin to chest. Keep the chin there. Make sure the shoulders stay nice and relaxed. And on the next inhale, roll the chin to the right shoulder. Exhale through center. Inhale, roll to the left. Exhale, center. Inhale, roll. Exhale, center. Last one, breathing in, roll, exhale, center. And then inhale, lift the chin back up. Clasp the hands, press them away, relax the shoulders. Inhale, reach up, arch the back a little bit. Exhale, curl and round. Press the hands forward, press the hands away from you. Inhale, reach up to the ceiling, gentle arc of the spine. Exhale, curl and round, tuck the chin. And then coming back to neutral, release the hands to the knees, and we'll make some circles with the hips. Keeping the hips glued to the floor, just make a few circles in one direction. And you can make these circles as big or as small, as fast or as slow as feels good to you. And we're going to switch directions. Good. Okay. And then we are going to do some cat-cow flow. So I'm just going to take my sweater off, getting a little warm. And we'll begin in table pose. And we're going to do some cat-cow. So we're going to inhale, drop the belly, look up to the ceiling. Use the full exhale to curl and round into cat, dropping the chin down, the forehead down, the crown down, looking back between the knees. Inhale, gazing up to the ceiling. Exhale, curling and rounding, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone, pressing the floor away. Good. And then from here, we're going to do some flow. So we're going to come into a child's pose and come up through table and into cow. So we're going to do it with the breath. So we'll start with cow. We're going to inhale cow, exhale cat, inhale table, exhale child's pose. Inhale table all the way through cow. Exhale curl and round. And come back into child's pose. So breathing in, we'll do it one more time. Inhale takes you all the way through. Exhale curl and round. Inhale table. Exhale child's pose. And then we're going to tuck the toes, press up into down dog, and walk the feet up to the hands, coming into a forward fold. I'm actually going to turn to face you, but you can keep facing the short edge of your mat if you prefer that. So we're just hanging in ragdoll. So we imagine from the hips forward, everything's just like a waterfall melting. And you can take hands, your fists to opposite elbow, and just gently sway a little from side to side. Just letting everything melt. And imagine just any thoughts or any stress just melting away off of your shoulders, out of your head, out of your arms. And then tucking the chin, looking up to the belly button on an inhale, slowly rolling up, stacking one vertebra at a time. Head and shoulders are last to come on up. Okay. So here we'll do a few balancing postures. Again, these just bring the mind into focus. So these are a great way to focus. All of that little stretching warm-up we just did was targeting the main areas where stress is carried. The only one we didn't do was the letting go breath or the lion's breath, which you can absolutely include in this if you are leading a full session. And we may even do them at the end when we go into child's pose. We'll see. So we'll begin with crane. So both feet pressed into the floor, pushing the floor away. So when you press down through the feet, the body aligns. Going to inhale the arms up, exhale, relax the shoulders down the back. Pressing into the left foot, we'll lift the right one up. And hold and breathe. We're like a crane. Shoulders stay relaxed. Pressing down through that left foot. I'm also pressing into the right foot. So everything's engaged. My core's engaged. My legs are engaged, both of them, even the one that's lifted. And I'm reaching for the ceiling, but at the same time, my shoulders are nice and relaxed. And I could hang out here forever. Just breathing, relaxing, just like a crane. But I won't, because we all have things to do. So let's do the other side. So we're nice and balanced. Easy breath in, reaching up, pressing down through the standing leg, and also pressing down into an imaginary, I like to think there's an imaginary step that I'm pushing my foot into. That keeps my leg engaged, and it's not just hanging out like a dead weight. So a few rounds of breath here. And then on an exhale, we'll gently, gracefully unwind. And let's do tree pose. So I'm going to press into my left foot. I'm bringing my right foot up to the inseam of my pants on my thigh, just not on the knee. Don't want to put lateral pressure on the knee. So in the thigh or the calf, hands to the heart center, and breathing, hanging out in tree. So important to breathe when you're a tree. Trees make oxygen, and they absorb carbon dioxide. So if you're a tree, even if you're a movement tree like this, you must be breathing. It's important. So you can take some branches like I have, grow some branches. And when we're ready to come out, we can even come back into crane before we come out for an extra balance challenge. And of course, we're going to do the other side. And just check in. Did these challenging poses change how you breathe? Can you change how you breathe so you're responding in a more mindful way to something that may be stressful or challenging for you? Can you stay calm in a state of chaos? The answer is yes, of course you can. Just finding those tools, which is what today's webinar is all about. And of course, helping children find those tools. So let's just keep a couple more breaths here. Then we'll slowly come on out. If you want to get fancy and do the crane on the way out, you can. And we'll do one more. We'll do eagle. So let's inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, right arm under left, wrapping the forearms and the wrists, palms touch. Elbows are at shoulder height. Press the forearms away from you. Squeeze the shoulders together behind your back. Crouch down into like a chair. We're going to lift the right leg up and over and wrap that around. Whoop. And then aligning knees and elbows and breathing. Every inhale, imagine your spine getting a little bit taller. And every exhale, relax into the pose. Good. Hold. One more round of breath here. And then we'll slowly come out with control. Maybe we can come back into that crane for the extra balance challenge. You don't have to. It's fun to keep that mindfulness going and that control. Let's do the other side. Inhale. Exhale, left arm onto right. Relaxing as we crouch down and lifting up and over, wrapping the legs like ropes, lining the knees and the elbows, and breathing. Good. Easy inhale. Relaxing exhale. Easy inhale. Relaxing exhales and slowly unwind. Coming back in crane and release. Okay, so we'll do a couple of challenging poses. So a super challenging one for me is plank. So, I mean, there's not many people who love plank, but plank can have a very different relationship with plank if you just breathe. So I'm pressing my hands into the floor. I'm pressing back through my heels. My core is engaged. I'm gazing forward and I'm breathing. So even though this may be challenging, the more I breathe and stay relaxed, the more I work on where is my body, engaging my whole body. So not just one part there's not just one part of my body doing the work here. My whole body is working. My legs are working, my arms and my core. And I'm breathing. So challenging postures like plank can really teach me, hey, if I stay aware and stay with my body, if I stay in control of my breath, even though this might be a little bit hard for me, I can stay calm regardless. And then, of course, side plank is a really tricky pose. So this can be a fun one to teach, children. Hey, I'm going to stay calm, even though I'm doing something that's a little bit challenging. So play around with that, play around with some postures that you find challenging. And then as you're doing them, check in. Where is my body? Where is my breath? Where is my mind? And play with it. Just see what results you get. Okay, so let's do a child's pose. So I'm going to take the knees wide, toes together, and come back into that child's pose. And this is where we'll do some of that lion's breath breathing or letting go breathing. So take a nice full breath in. Child's pose is a lovely posture to become aware of the breathing into the back and the space in the back. So being aware of the back, the shoulders as you breathe in, and a big open mouth exhale. Letting go breath or lion's breath. Easy breath in and let it go. Last one, easy breath in and let it go. And then after child's pose for today, we'll come back down onto our backs. We'll do a bridge just to gently stretch the abdominals and to start to bring the attention back outward. Now, today, I'll make it a supported bridge. I'm going to use a block to make it more restorative. So I'm going to inhale, lift my hips up, and exhale, place the block just under my hips. And rest my arms by the side. So they're still nice and restorative, but I'm getting a gentle stretch across the belly. And I'd hold this for 3 to 5 minutes if you're doing it restorative. I'm going to remove the block right now, and I'm going to come into a twist. So the digestive system works from right across and down on the left. So we're coming up, across, and down. So we want to twist in the direction that the digestive system works. So I'm going to bring my knees to the right. My knees are quite close to my body. And I'm feeling that stretching here. And it stretches the left side, the descending colon, but I'm feeling a more compression over here, which is what I want to do. I want to squeeze it a little there. I'm just going to rest in this twist. And then inhale and exhale. And then after twisting, I recommend a reclined child's pose. So this is a forward bend on your back, hugging the knees in, and then setting up for final resting. In final resting, I recommend a progressive relaxation technique, checking in through the body, a guided body scan, just finding any points of tension and letting those go, that any points of tension that remain after that nice full body stretch. We're not going to do that today just because we are out of time, but I do recommend any kind of breathing or progressive relaxation technique just to really anchor the mind and encourage that quiet, calm space. You could also do a breathing technique like soothing breath, like we did in the beginning at the end, if you didn't have time for a full progressive relaxation. I also recommend the color breathing technique, which you can find on my website. So I hope you found today's wellness support, targeted wellness support for stress and anxiety helpful. And up next, we will be exploring movement, meditation, and mindfulness as target wellness support for sleep and quality rest. I hope you can join me, and I look forward to connecting with you very, very soon.